In this week's episode of Akame ga Kill, the Jaegers prove that they're a bizarro, creepy version of Night Raid. And Tatsumi, just some friendly advice from my good friend Ratchek from Starship Troopers. Never pass up a good thing. I know that Esdeath is a creepy psycho bitch, but that doesn't mean you can't have a little fun, if you know what I mean. So yeah, another awesome episode of Akame ga Kill, which expanded on the Jaeger members, which, like I said, are basically like the evil version of Night Raid. And the episode actually opens up with them storming this bandit's hideout and kicking all sorts of ass. We already know that Karami has swords, there's the one dude with angel wings, there's that one guy known as Bowles who has the big flamethrower. He's creepy as hell. My favorite member of the Jaegers, aside from Esdeath, is Wave. I didn't really care for him much last week, but in this week's episode, he proves that he's going to be one of the more interesting members of that group. And he's basically a carbon copy of Tatsumi in almost every single way, in that they're the newest members of their group, they're not quite used to their surroundings quite yet, and they don't seem to fit in with everybody else. They just seem to have that goofy prototypical nature. Not only that, but their powers are very similar. But before I get to that, let's talk about that scene where Esdeath got out of the shower and wanted to spend some quality time with Tatsumi. This scene is really important because Tatsumi tries to lay it out on the line, and he tries to change her mindset that the Empire is bad, we should go and join the Revolutionary Army. But upon hearing this, Esdeath just smacks him in the face and ends the conversation right there, letting him know, you're not going to be the one to change me, I'm going to be the one to change you. She then uses him as a body pillow throughout the night, which Tatsumi didn't seem to enjoy. What the hell's wrong with this kid? Aside from the Esdeath fan service, my favorite thing about this week's episode is that we were introduced to Wave's powers. And not only is his personality almost identical to Tatsumi's, but so is his Imperial Arms weapon. He also has his own set of armor, which apparently is an upgraded version of the Incursio armor. And there's a scene where Tatsumi tries to escape and he dons Incursio, and Wave doesn't see this happen, so he decides to give chase and put on his armor, which is all black and slick and way more futuristic looking, and eventually he does catch up to Tatsumi. However, he doesn't realize that it's actually him inside of the armor. He still thinks that Bulat is alive, and he just decides to fight against him. So we get an awesome action scene. Luckily, Tatsumi is able to escape, and Lubbock and Akame do find him, and that's pretty much the end of the episode. It's basically just Esdeath lamenting over the fact that Tatsumi has left, but she is convinced she will be able to find him again. And something that I think is kind of really messing with my head, and I felt that Esdeath really didn't care about Tatsumi all that much at first. I thought this might have been like some sort of big ulterior plan or motive, the fact that she's in love, but apparently it's pretty legit. She's apparently head over heels for the guy, and there really doesn't seem to be anything there aside from the fact that she just simply loves Tatsumi. And I find that really surprising, unless there might be some sort of weird plot twist later on, but I don't know when that's going to happen. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Akame ga Kill? Badass episode right here. I love that they focused on the Jaegers this week, because when they were introduced in last week's episode, I was just so hoping that we were going to get an episode devoted to them, and that's exactly what we got. We finally got to see more of their powers, and a lot of them were expanded upon, like Seiryu. If you remember, she used to have these like random guns just sort of stuck in her arm stumps, but now when she has Koro transform and bite her arms off, they transform into these big weapons, like a big drill, which she uses like a Giga drill break, and even this one massive long gun. It's hilarious and over the top, but it fits Seiryu perfectly, who, again, is one of my favorite members of the group. But it's all about Wave this week. I loved that transformation sequence. It's very similar to where you can see that one freaky dragon thing, and then suddenly you have the armor on it. It gives it this sort of like Super Sentai feeling and almost like Guyver feeling, but I like that. I think it's really cool, and I love the fact that Tatsumi is going to have a rival in Wave, and I'm really interested to see what Wave's development is going to be like, because he's unlike any other member of the Jaegers. He seems to have a more sense of justice, if you know what I mean. Like, he's not like a cold-blooded killer. He's doing this because it's his job. Of course, Esdeath is also amazing this week, but that's just because she's so enchanting and gorgeous and badass and commanding at the same time. I love how her resolve was not even broken at all, even when Tatsumi was giving her all those classic shonen speeches. And it was just a lot of funny scenes, just getting to see her like chain him up and wrap him up around a chair and trying to get advice from Bowles the flamethrower guy. The episode does end with a little bit of an ominous tease where you get to see that Dr. Stylish and his group of very interesting-looking goons have just found Night Raid's hideout, so shit about to go down. Otherwise, this was a great episode. The animation, the artwork was great, the voice acting was very good and appropriate for all the characters, the music cues were good, and there was lots of fan service. If you want to see a lot of Esdeath cleavage, this is the episode for you. So I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Nearly perfect, but another great episode of this series, which is little by little really starting to work its way into my heart. I love this show so far, and I really hope that they're going to be able to continue on with the anime, even if that means cutting up the seasons into chunks. I don't want this to be one of those anime series that starts out adapting the manga, and then they just stop and create their own original crappy ending. Because I'm loving this right now. I'm really starting to get attached to the characters, and the Jaegers themselves are just as enduring as Night Raid. And there's just so many teases here, Akame versus Kuromi and all that other stuff. Just, there's a lot of excitement for this one. So check it out, fans of the series. You will not be disappointed. Thank you guys for watching my review today. Before you leave, make sure and hit that like button so you can give this video a thumbs up. And what did you guys think about this week's episode of Akame ga Kill? Do you have a favorite member of the Jaegers? And what did you think of that Esdeath fan service? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Side boob. By the way, guys, you can also subscribe to our channel. It'll help us out a lot. And make sure to also check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. I'll put links for all that stuff in the description box below.
Do you like Amazon.com? I know I do. Corey and I now have an Amazon link in our video description box below. And if you go to it and buy anything through Amazon.com, it will support our channel. So bookmark that link, make it happen, and support our channel without having to do a damn thing.
Another great way you guys can help support our channel is by donating directly through our PayPal link in the description box below. We recommend $2 a month, although this is completely optional. But the best way to go about this is by sneaking into your mom's room and taking $2. This way, she won't even notice. And we won't have to shake you up for all of your lunch money. So guys, that concludes this review today. Super Kami Guru 9000. Out.